Hey everyone, today we are going to be chatting about one of the most hotly debated topics in the Evolve community, and that's whether you pick all-terrain wheels or street wheels as part of your go-to setup.
There's been a bunch of Evolve Weekly episodes lately about wheels, specifically street wheels. But what we're going to do today is discuss the pros and cons about each of these different setups for your everyday ride.
So we've picked a pretty standard circuit for our trip. It's about 11 kilometers long, but the best thing about it is that it has a variety of terrain. We've got bridges and roads and paths and grass and dirt and even a very bumpy boardwalk.
We've got two Carbon GTs here. I've converted this one over to street using the conversion kit, using the 83mm Evolve GT wheels.
At the end of the ride, we will assess both setups and tell you how they performed.
That's right.
We're going to try the street wheels on the grass and see how that goes. Should be memorable. It looks a little odd.
I wouldn't recommend riding on grass on the street.
Now onto the boardwalk. How's it feel?
Like a gentle massage.
It's actually pretty great on the AT. Get a quick little swap boards and see how we go. One great thing about the street setup is the roll. You just let the control go and just keep rolling.
So that was a pretty good ride. We did find a couple of interesting things. Firstly, after we took the street board off-road through the grass and gravel and then across the very bumpy boardwalk, the motor plate did come loose. Now that is our fault, specifically Ant's fault. When he did the conversion, he didn't tighten the motor plate enough. So, lesson to be learnt, if you do a street conversion, make sure you tighten all the screws appropriately.
We beat the shit out of it though.
Still tighten all the screws.
Thrashed.
Tighten the screws.
Yeah. Alright.
So on all the roads and paths, the boards were both fantastic, but the street setup was really great because it has tremendous roll. You could just hit the accelerator and power off, and it would just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, whereas the all-terrain did come to a stop more quickly.
So for me, with the street setup, you feel much more connected to the road and the path. However, any bumps or cracks, you really feel them and you've got to brace for it. Whereas with the AT setup, you glide right over them like nothing's there.
So we also picked this path because it has a fairly large section of old wooden boardwalk. Now the all-terrain handled it really quite well. I mean, it was a little bit bumpy, but no real problem. Whereas the street,
Couldn't feel my feet after 10 seconds. Like literally could not feel my feet.
So when it came to off-road, it's no surprise that the all-terrain setup was much better. It just glided over the grass and gravel and dirt, and it was a ton of fun to ride everywhere, whereas the street board was not that great in the grass.
No. Look, the street can do it, but you shouldn't.
So we also did a comparison for the battery at the end, and the street board did much better at around 90% for the trip, whereas the all-terrain was at about 70%. That's not surprising because we did take the all-terrain board off-road quite a bit, and those bigger tires do chew through more battery. So at the end of the day, both these setups are good for different reasons. The street setup is great if you want some fast acceleration and good battery life, and you just want to carve and be connected to the road. The all-terrain is also a really fun setup. It's nice and smooth and goes over pretty much any surface. Now, I personally prefer the all-terrain setup because I like to commute, and over a long distance, those softer wheels do make a big difference on the legs.
Whereas I'm torn between the two. I love the AT because it feels much more like snowboarding and you can pretty much ride over anything. But the street setup on a smooth road gives a really great carving experience.
So I'd have to say my favorite setup on an Evolve board for commuting would be the AT setup for comfort.
Hi, Leon here, and I love my AT wheels because they're safe over crappy footpaths, they hold a carve longer than anything else, and they're the best commuting wheel by far. Wouldn't have it any other way.
My favorite setup on a Evolve board, I would have to say, would be some good slide wheels, just because due to the more surfy feel, you can get the back end to slide out on little turns and different things like that.
I like the terrain. Just around here, easy to go up. There's lots of bumps, lots of bits and pieces. If you want to get into do some slides or whatever, then I go for the street wheel any day of the week.
Personally, I ride AT on an everyday basis. It's kind of my go-to. I like it because it's a smooth, softer ride. You don't really feel a lot of the bumps or cracks in the road, and then plus just peace of mind. I don't have to really pay as much attention to the cracks or rocks or anything like that because I know that this is going to roll right over it.
Starting out, I really dug the all-terrain, but once I got on this one, it's no contest. It's so much more fun.
I like the 8-inch all-terrain.
Why?
Because they grip the ground really easily. They have a top speed of like maybe 27, 28 miles per hour when you have a full battery.
My preferred wheels would be the street wheels, simply because I need the distance, because I commute daily to work for 20 k's a day, and most importantly, I want the speed.
So there you have it. It really comes down to your riding style and where you want to ride. Let us know in the comments which is your favorite setup, and remember that if you can't decide which to pick, you can always try both.